We are Modai and Laurie from Rijnbrink. That's the provincial layer between the national and the library, so for a little bit of context. And Ingrid asked us to tell something about the value of public libraries and how we are trying to measure that. I think as a bit of context, it might be nice to say that I think this is an important topic for us now because we don't rely anymore just on the numbers of loans.
It's harder.
Oh, I will try.
This is
It's close to the microphone.
Yeah.
So like I said, I think it's a bit important to, better, thanks, to talk about this because it's not just about talking about the numbers of loans and members anymore because that's not the whole story. So I think municipalities are asking for that, but also we ourselves can learn from that more. So just not just about proving, but about improving, and not just about measuring, but also about managing. This circle is developed by the National Library and an impact bureau, I think, called Sinzer. And they developed a kind of course together that's about this impact management idea. And just to walk through it real quickly, it starts maybe at the impact goals, so what do you want to reach? Then about a change pathway or theory of change. How does it work? How do you get from your impact goals to the, from your activity to the impact goals? What are you going to do? You make a plan how to measure it. You really collect the data and then analyze and interpret. And in the end, learn and improve and start again. Are we doing the right thing? So all in all, it should be a continuous process. And these questions can help you, the theory of change can help you think about these questions. And Modai will start first, but we will talk about 3 different tools that you can use to help you think in this way.
Yeah, hello everyone, my name is Modai, colleague of Laurie. I'm going to tell you something about the tools we are using to measure output and outcome. There are different tools being developed. I'm going to focus today on the Bibliotheek Monitor, translated as Library Monitor, and the Impact Monitor. But first, I want to define those concepts, output and outcome. What are we talking about when we are mentioning output? Output means the countable deliverables, like how many activities did you use, how many participants were joining those activities, what was the frequency of activities, so you could put a number on it. And if the outcomes is saying something about what happens by the individual. They followed a course or a training or an activity, what changed in their lives. Some of them get less lonely, more confident, or less depending on others. But I'm going to start with the Library Monitor. It's developed by the National Library. There are 7 questionnaires. The main focus of the questionnaire is youth and education and basic skills for adults. There are 3 questionnaires for youth and education, and they are focusing on the services libraries are providing for the schools, but it's also about the collaboration between libraries, preschools, elementary schools, and high schools. Those questionnaires are not mandatory, but it's strongly advised to answer the questions in the questionnaire, because those questionnaires are returned each year. So you can watch and monitor the progress each year, what has happened, what libraries have things changed. For example, you could see the effects of Corona at the service of the libraries. Well, the results are presented in several ways. There are infographics made. All the libraries who answer the questionnaire receive one, but there are also on national level and on provincial level infographics are developed. I will show you one later on. There's a national report being written by the National Library, There are dashboards being made. Each questionnaire has its own dashboard, and there are articles on various websites. I want to show you an example of a dashboard. It's not live, but it's a screenshot of a dashboard. On the left side, you see all different subjects. Not the whole questionnaire is put in the dashboard, but the most important subjects are in the dashboard. So you can see over here different subjects, so like digital skills, literacy skills, and the vertical bars say something about the period of time. So the blue one is 2016 and the orange one is 2020. So you can see the progress being made throughout the years. It's not, you don't read them as in total, they are separate ones. So each 4 bars represents a subject. But you cannot only watch the progress through time, but you could also benchmark. So you can compare libraries with other libraries. The data is public accessible. So all the libraries in the Netherlands, you could benchmark. So if you're interested in a library that's almost the same as your own library, you could benchmark and see how they are performing. Well, this is the infographic I was mentioning about.
Sorry.
No, it's fine.
They're not seeing your presentation.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. Sorry.
Ще видно малко зачитна презентация.
Huh. So, something like that. So, в реду. Then we'll try this one.
Yeah.
Is this okay?
This one wird es
No, the problem is because we have a...
We found this last week. We have similar problem with PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah.
You have to open it and close it and then open it and then it's okay. I don't know what is the point after this, but okay.
We have measuring now.
Yeah.
Okay.
We just have to deal with it.
So this one, and then we...
You have to share the screen.
Yes, of course. And we just share the screen. This one, share. Ta-da!
Is it opet naprej?
Excellent. Yeah. Okay.
Ne?
You can this far?
Yeah. Great. Yeah. Great. Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay, no problem. I hope you all can see it. Well, this was an example of the infographic. All the libraries who answered the questionnaires received one. I know you can't read it, but there are different data presented over here, like the amount of members, how many libraries are working together with high school. And it's for to give an impression of what the infographic is. Well, there's another instrument being developed also by the National Library, and that's the Impact Monitor. And this is a monitor that focuses on the change by the individual. Maybe it's good to mention that the Library Monitor is a questionnaire libraries answer, and the Impact Monitor is answered by the participants. And it facilitates local impact research. And nowadays there are 4 themes libraries could assess, and they're focusing on language and digital skills. But there is some movement going that also other teams are being developed, like work and income and health. So you can also monitor, or not monitor, facilitate the impact on other themes. The impact model is standardized measuring instruments, so it's validated, it's being sure of being made that what you're measuring is being measured. There are different components in the questionnaires. It's focused on motivation, but also on benefits in daily life, so all different parts of being questioned. And it's good to mention that it's before people start a training course or an activity, they fill in the questionnaire, and afterwards. So you can see what happened in between, if someone is more confident or less depending on others. And this is an example of the before and afterwards measurement. And the question is, do you need help when you use the internet or the computer? And at forehand, 60% said, well, maybe sometimes I could use some help. And 40% said, said, yes, I need help. And after they followed the course, the numbers changed. There is still 20% who's saying, yes, I need help. And there's still 60% who says, yes, maybe sometimes I need help. But there's also 20% who's more confident and who are saying, no, I don't need any help, I can do it on my own. So it's very good I know the N is 5, it's less. Of course you want N large number, but it's an example. So it gives a feeling for what you could do with the measurements. And I'm going to ask Laurie to talk about impacts.
Because after the outcome, we also have still the impact, and this is still a bit more not so standardized. So what we're trying to do now is also with other parties like the National Library and other provincial organizations and libraries, is that there's an impact project group. So mostly the people who follow the community started with that, but also people who want to contribute afterwards are invited to do so. Try to involve as many people as possible and create awareness. So we're still starting in that, and to experiment with these tools like the theory of change. I wanted to show you 2 examples of that, how we are trying to use it at the moment. And the first one is of the Voice Express, and I heard that it's called the Reading Aloud Express in English. And we tried to do this in a way that we can tell the province, so our regional government, what this brings us to do this project. And maybe it's a bit messy if you cannot read it, but what it tries to do is that there's an activity, so the Reading Aloud Express, and what it means is that there's a volunteer reading at a family for 20 times. So that's what we do. But what's the outcome is, for instance, if you follow the upper line, is that children hear more words. That's one thing we can be sure about. Then hopefully that means that the development of the language is increased. And hopefully that means that the environment of the children at home is more literate afterwards. And hopefully that means that children have a better understanding of language. And really at the far end of the line it says a decrease of inequality. So that's a far leap, but we hope that with this activities we contribute to that. So this is a really well researched program, so we know a lot of this is true, but it helps us anyway to see it in one overview. And a really different type of project that we use this theory of change at the start is the city calendar. Doesn't sound as nice, but it's Agenda van de Stad in Hengelo and Enschede. And what we started with is in the left corner, what's happening at this time, and we feel that people in the cities are not included enough in local decision making. And what we want is that people do feel involved in local decision making. So that's the change we want to achieve. And also it's nice because we have 4 parties working in this project, so you can really describe who does what and who is good at what. So that's what we made this for. At the left hand you see that we are working together with A20, which is a media company, like you make news items on the radio and television. And the libraries are a major player in Hengelo and Enschede. And what the library is good at is offering context for instance, the energy transition, what this is about at the moment. And A20 is really good at feeling what's an important theme at the moment and acting on that. So what we can learn from each other is exactly that. The flexibility libraries can learn from the Twente, and Twente can learn or have a broader audience at the library. So that's one thing that it gave us. And for this one, we also try to define some questions that can help us measure this. So the red post-its, or whatever they are questions that we want to ask the people who come to the libraries or to the Twente or see the content, to measure whether the activities that we mentioned and the effects that we mentioned happen. This is a 2-year project, so this is for the first half year, and when we have finished this half year, we are going to the next theme. We try to make the theory of change better. We try to refocus and ask another question. Like one of the questions says, for instance, do you know where you can find your information on the energy transition? If the answer is yes, then maybe that's then we don't have to do something in that. But if it's no, then we have to maybe think about how we can position the library in a better way to find your information. So that's 2 ways in which we are trying to use it. It's still a bit experimental, but we're trying. And something that we wanted to show you, because it's really nice in this regard, is a research in Denmark from February this year, the impact of public libraries. And they made an impact compass. It looks like this, and what it says is there's 4 kind of factors that libraries have impact on, and well, they are called Haven perspective, that's about lifelong learning, community and creativity. And what you can see on the left is that the highest scores are in the Haven and the perspective parts, so in the lifelong learning and the feeling somewhere, belonging somewhere, the being moved part. So this is really more of a suggestion to read. It's really good. That was it. If you have any questions, then please ask.